Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Bo-chan.
I'm Nimacum.
I'm Van-chan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you a part of Ulysses,
Bess,
L.
Ulysses, James Joyce. Chap 17, Sec 13. Because the controlled contemplation of the fluctuation of attraction produced, if desired, a fluctuation of pleasure. Allegation? In virtue of acquaintance initiated in September 1903 in the establishment of George Messrs. Merchant Tailor and Outfitter, 5 Eden Quay. The hospitality extended and received in kind, reciprocated and reappropriated in person. The comparative yet subject impulses of ambition and magnanimity, collegial altruism and amorous egoism, the extraracial attraction, intraracial inhibition, supraracial prerogative, the imminent provincial musical tour, common current expenses, net proceeds divided, equanimity, as natural as any and every natural act of a nature expressed or understood, executed in nature by natural creatures in accordance with his, her and their natured natures, of dissimilar similarity, as not so calamitous as a cataclysmic annihilation of the planet in consequence of a collision with the dachshund, as less reprehensible than theft, highway robbery, cruelty to children and animals, obtaining money under false pretenses, forgery, embezzlement, misappropriation of public money, betrayal of public trust, malingering, mayhem, corruption of minors, criminal libel, blackmail, contempt of court, arson, treason, villainy, mutiny on the high seas, trespass, burglary, jailbreaking, practice of unnatural vice, desertion from armed forces in the field, perjury, poaching, usury, intelligence with the king's enemies, impersonation, criminal assault, manslaughter, wilful and premeditated murder, as not more abnormal than all other parallel processes of adaptation to altered conditions of existence, resulting in a reciprocal equilibrium between the bodily organism and its attendant circumstances. Food, beverages, acquired habits, indulged inclinations, significant disease, as more than inevitable, irreparable. Why more abnegation than jealousy? Listen with equanimity. From outrage matrimony to outrage adultery there is not but outrage copulation, yet the matrimonial violator of the matrimonially violated had not been outraged by the adulterous violator of the adulterously violated. What retribution, if any? Assassination. Never. As 2 wrongs did not make 1 right. Duel by combat. Thou. Divorce. No. Exposure by mechanical artifice, automatic bed or individual testimony concealed or killer witnesses. Moderate. Save for damages by legal influence or simulation of assault with evidence of injuries sustained. Self-inflicted. Not impossibly. Hashmoney by moral influence. Possibly. If any. Positively. Connivance. Introduction of emulation material. A prosperous rival agency of publicity, moral. A successful rival agent of intimacy. Depreciation. Alienation. Humiliation. Separation, protecting the one separated from the other. Protecting the separator from both. By what reflections did he? A conscious reactor against the void of incertitude. Justify to himself his sentiments. The preordained frangibility of the high man, the presupposed intangibility of the thing in itself, the incongruity and disproportion between the self-borrowing tension of the thing proposed to be done and the self-abreviating relaxation of the thing done, the fallaciously infertility of the female, the muscularity of the male, the variations of ethical codes, the natural grammatical transition by inversion, involving no alteration of sense of an aorist preterite proposition post as masculine subject. Monosyllabic onomatopoeic transitive verb with direct feminine object from the active voice into its correlative. Aorist preterite proposition parsed as feminine subject. Auxiliary verb in quis monosyllabic onomatopoeic past participle with complementary masculine agent in the passive voice. The continued product of seminators by generation, the continual production of semen by distillation, the futility of triumph or protest or vindication, the inanity of extolled virtue, the lethargy of listed matter, the apathy of the stars. In what final satisfaction did these antagonistic sentiments and reflections, reduced to their simplest forms, converge? Satisfaction at the ubiquity in eastern and western terrestrial hemispheres. In all habitable lands and islands explored or unexplored, the land of the midnight sun, the islands of the blessed, the isles of Greece, the land of promise, of adipose interior and posterior female hemispheres, redolent of milk and honey and of excretory sanguine and seminal warmth, reminiscent of secular families of curves of amplitude, insusceptible of moods of impression or of contrarieties of expression, expressive of mutable mature animality. The visible signs of insatisfaction. An approximate erection, a solicitous aversion, a gradual elevation, a tentative revelation, a silent contemplation. Then he kissed the plump mellow yellows mellow melons of her rump. On each plump melonous hemisphere, in their mellow yellow furrow, was obscure pong provocative melons melonous oscillation. The visible signs of past satisfaction. A silent contemplation, a tentative elation, a gradual abasement, a solicitous aversion, approximate erection. What followed this silent action? Somnolent invocation. Less somnolent recognition. Incipient excitation. Catechetical interrogation. With what modifications did the narrator reply to this interrogation? Agative, he omitted to mention the clandestine correspondence between Martha Clifford and Henry Flower. The public altercation out. In and in the vicinity of the licensed premises of Bernard Kerning & Co. Limited. It. 9 and 10 Little Britain Street. The erotic provocation and response thereto caused by the exhibitionism of Gertrude Gertie. Surname unknown. Positive, he included mention of a performance by Mrs. Banman Pommer of Leatha. E.G. Theatre. 46. 47. 48. 49 South King Street. An invitation to supper at Wins Murphy's Hotel. 35. 36 and 37 Lower Abbey Street. A volume of Peckham and his pornographical tendency entitled Sweets of Sin. Anonymous author, a gentleman of fashion. A temporary concussion caused by a falsely calculated movement in the course of a personal gymnastic display. The victim since completely recovered being Stephen Dedalus. Professor and author. Oldest surviving son of Simon Dedalus. Of no fixed occupation. An aeronautical feat executed by him, narrator, in the presence of a witness. The professor and author aforesaid. With promptitude of decision and gymnastic flexibility. Was the narration otherwise unaltered by modifications? Absolutely. Which event or person emerged as the salient point of his narration? Stephen Dedalus. Professor and author. What limitations of activity and inhibitions of conjugal rights were perceived by listener and narrator concerning themselves during the course of this intermittent and increasingly more laconic narration? By the listener, a limitation of fertility inasmuch as marriage had been celebrated one calendar month after the 18th anniversary of her birthday, September 1870. Is 8 October, and consummated on the same date with female as she born 15 June 1889, having been anticipatorily consummated on the 10th September of the same year in complete carnal intercourse, with ejaculation of semen within the natural female organ, having last taken place 5 weeks previous. Is 27 November 1893. To the birth on 29 December 1893 of second annually male issue. Deceased 9 January 1894. Aged 11 days. There remained a period of 10 years. 5 months and 18 days during which carnal intercourse had been incomplete, without ejaculation of semen within the natural female organ. By the narrator, limitation of activity, mental and corporal, as much as complete mental intercourse between himself and the listener had not taken place since the consummation of puberty, indicated by catamenic hemorrhage of the female issue of narrator and listener. 15 September 1903. There remained a period of 9 months and 1 day during which, in consequence of a pre-established natural comprehension and incomprehension between the consummated female's listener and issue, complete corporal liberty of action had been circumscribed. By various reiterated feminine interrogation concerning the masculine destination whither, the place where, the time at which, the duration for which, the object with which in the case of temporary absences, projected or affected. What moved visibly above the listener's and the narrator's invisible thoughts? The upcast reflection of a lamp and shade. An inconstant series of concentric circles of varying gradations of light and shadow. In what directions did listener and narrator lie? Listener. Ba. E. Y. Narrator. The. W. By W. On the 53rd parallel of latitude. The. And 6th meridian of longitude. W. At an angle of to the terrestrial equator. In what state of rest or motion? At rest relatively to themselves and to each other. In motion, being each and both carried westward, forward and rearward respectively, by the proper perpetual motion of the earth through ever-changing tracts of never-changing space. In what posture? Listener reclined similarly. That. Left hand under head. Right leg extended in a straight line and resting on left leg. Vexed. In the attitude of Gitalis. Fulfilled. Recumbent. Biguicide. Narrator reclined laterally. That. With right and left legs flexed. The index finger and thumb of the right hand resting on the bridge of the. Both. In the attitude depicted in a snapshot photograph made by Persephone. The children weary. The man-child in the womb. Womb. Weary. He rests. He has travelled. With. Sinbad the sailor, and Timbad the tailor, and Jinbad the jailer, and Winbad the whaler. And Nimbad the nailer, and Finbad the failer, and Binbad the bailer, and Binbad the paler, and Minbad the mailer, and Hinbad the hailer, and Rinbad the railer, and Dinbad the caler, and Vinbad the quailer, and Limbad the yaler, and Zinbad the failer. Wine. Going to Darkbed there was a square round Sinbad the sailor rocks Oxig. In the night of the bed of all the oaks of the rocks of Darkenbad. The bright tailor. Where. To be continued.